Lacey, and Gerhard Berger's gone to 8.8 seconds. Berger's last lap was 1 minute 54, 5 seconds slower than he'd been running, and that's the reason why he has a problem and he's into the pits.
So it looks as though Gerhard Berger's run of bad luck is continuing. What is it? Is it just a fuel stop? No, there's in and out with the fuel hose very quickly. It's some sort of electronic problem. The computer is there by the side of the car. Well, that's it. That's the end of Berger's chances, and he's just having so much bad luck this year. Looks like it's stalled now as well.
Well, what a frustration for Gerhard Berger. It began yesterday afternoon when he had that horrific spin down into the chicane. Suddenly, on that last lap, he lost 5 seconds. He drove into the pits, and the engineers plugged in the PC to check what is going on in the computer. He installs, and it looks like this may, well, I was going to say be the end for Gerhard. I think the tap on the shoulder there says, yes, okay, son, day's work's done.
So this becomes the battle for third place now that Eddie Irvine leads ahead of Frentzen, Coulthard, Villeneuve, Sarlo, Herbert, Hakkinen and Panis and Brundle, although Brundle's dropped back a little bit from the group now.
Watch Frentzen as they come into Portier. Irvine again a little bit away on the left-hand side. Frentzen much better placed, but the gap between the two of them as they make their way through the tunnel remains the same.
Yes, no real chance for Frentzen to get close enough under braking for the chicane. That is one of the possible, or slightly possible, overtaking opportunities here, but of course Irvine knows that covers the inside. Meanwhile, Villeneuve's dropped back a little bit from Coulthard, and then Sarlo right behind him. We're back on board with Eddie Irvine now then, in third position with the demise of Gerhard Berger. Sad to see the Austrian out of the race already, so it's Hill, Alesi, then Irvine, our top three.
I'm just trying to get a view from that onboard camera on Irvine's car to see what track conditions are like around the circuit. What you see from the cameras off the circuit is one thing, but on view you can pick up if the drying line is all the way around, certainly down at Rascasse and up from Rascasse on the pit straight. Very treacherous, but here clearly a dry line is there.
Yes, so of course that makes us begin to wonder if the tyres are beginning to wear, and just what the teams will start to do about that, when to call the drivers in. That's all going to be part and parcel of this, and of course with this group battling so closely, pit stops at fractions of seconds saved in the pits will be all the difference. Olivier Panis there closing up a little bit more now to Mika Hakkinen, but Eddie Irvine still leads this group of cars, and Frentzen, well, he's not made any mistakes. It can get so frustrating, of course, in this, to be patient and wait for the opportunity.
And we're almost seeing Irvine all the way down to Martin Brundle in 11th place, and there are only 12 cars running now of the 21 that took the start, so the attrition rate at this stage is appalling. I don't remember seeing so few cars. We're on lap 12 and there are 12 cars running.
That's amazing, yes. We haven't seen so many cars out of a race for a very long time indeed. Modern Formula One cars so much more reliable, but of course these conditions really have claimed so many victims already in the race. Gerhard Berger going out with some sort of mechanical problem, but I think virtually all of the others have been spins or accidents, and so reduced numbers, but it's good to see we've got a lot of them all running together on the circuit. We're back on board with David Coulthard looking down over his borrowed helmet from Michael Schumacher, and he's watching this little battle going on ahead of him. He stayed with them and has dropped Villeneuve and just needs to see if there's any opportunity there to get past his two rivals up ahead. Irvine, though, still looking solid in front of this group.
Yes, and in spite of intense pressure from the German, Eddie Irvine, I think, has hardly put a wheel wrong other than that one little moment as he came into Portier. But Villeneuve again just so keen to take advantage of that setup that he tried, where he ran this morning with a wet setup. In these conditions, well, neither wet nor truly dry. It doesn't really matter what you've on the car. It's just there ain't a lot of grip.
Irvine crests the rise as Damon Hill is down at the chicane. There's a half a lap between them now, with Damon's advantage last time around up to 17.8 seconds over Jean Alesi. Damon Hill lapped in 1 minute 48 and Jean Alesi at 1 minute 49.2. So Damon's still the quicker of the two, and he has built up a massive advantage. There is second place man now going through the chicane area, and that gives you an idea of just how much a gap there is.
And as I said earlier in the broadcast, it is so important for a race leader at this early stage of a Grand Prix to be able to use that clear track to your maximum advantage. You do never know. something can occur, particularly when you come in for a pit stop, wheel changes. You've got warm wheels going on to ones that are red hot coming off, and even sometimes that difference in temperature in the hubs and in the uprights with a wheel going on, it becomes quite difficult.
So that's the next challenge, to see what happens when they come into the pits. Irvine gets it a bit sideways, under braking into the swimming pool complex once again. Gathers it all together, but it seems to be getting worse, if anything now. The back end grip of that car, he really seems to be fighting it now.
Well, there looks to be little suspension compliance. The car doesn't seem to bite. And if you want to look at the best bite, you've got to look at the Williams, in particular Damon Hill. When he puts the power on, the car is giving superb mechanical grip. And at the speed that these cars are running at, the amount of aerodynamic downforce is relatively small. It's really becoming effective once they get above 60 or 70 miles an hour. And right now, those low-speed corners are probably well below that.
But he has enough of a straight line speed advantage down the start-finish straight here to just pull away another length or two from Harold Frentzen. It does seem as though Irvine's struggling for traction. You can really see the wheels spinning out of Rascasse. It's a little difficult to see out of the last corner, but then down the straight, the V10 Ferrari engine's just pulling him away slightly from the Sauber Ford, and that's just giving him the edge again, and Frentzen unable to dive under in braking.
David Coulthard as he comes into Mirabeau. And there you see Irvine not really getting a lot of grip on the edge of the car, running wide as he tries to get the power out the front, not giving them that bite. And down, and this is the corner we saw Schumacher on that dramatic first lap. Then into Poitiers itself. And David Coulthard wearing Michael Schumacher's spare helmet. A strange sight, a sight that I'm sure McLaren team would love to have for real. But they've got David Coulthard doing a good job.
That's right, yes, former Mercedes driver Michael Schumacher, and of course they would love to see him in a McLaren Mercedes, but it's not Schumacher in that car, it's David Coulthard, and he's doing a great job himself, holding on to 5th place, and just watching that battle going on between Irvine and Frentzen ahead. The rest of that little group goes through, still rounded out by the only remaining Jordan Peugeot in the race, remember, Martin Brundle, because we've lost Rubens Barrichello already with a spin on the approach to Rascasse early on.
Frentzen just frustrating and teasing Irvine. He stuck the nose out. There is no way, reality, to get down the inside into that exit from the swimming pool, but it's just to have that car appearing in your mirrors, pick it up in your peripheral vision, and you just wonder, is he going to go for it this time or not? You've just got to make your own path and hope that as you turn in, you look at that big bump from behind, and then you have an apology situation.
Fastest lap comparisons there, you can see with Damon Hill still with the fastest lap of the race, but Jean Lacey quicker on the last lap, just a fraction faster, but that hasn't really meant that he's closed up much. The gap between them still 17.7 seconds, and then the gap back from Lacey to Irvine heading this group is a massive 30 seconds, and then of course we can see the gaps for ourselves right behind Irvine.
So Frentzen watches Irvine as he goes to the centre of the road, closes the opportunity down the inside. This is what Irvine is doing is entirely fair. It's not weaving around, he's just using the width of the road to defend his position. If he was weaving from side to side, that would be something I would say was wrong. But of course on a street track like this, where you don't get the opportunity to build your momentum, and you've got a driver in such a defensive mode, all you can do is just sit there and not make a mistake yourself. Wait till the pit stops come and then do the pass in the pit lane.
One thing that's interesting from the lap times is Damon Hill has actually just set a new fastest lap as he's just gone across the line. But it's quite interesting how consistent they remain, John. They haven't. The track is not really drying out much, because each lap we're seeing them in the 1 minute 48s, 1 minute 49s. There doesn't seem to be really any improvements as they go around.
Well, again, there's a lot of water in certain parts of the track, and that's right into the tarmac, and it's going to take time with the ambient temperature still below 20. It will take that. Look at this, Frentzen squabbling with Irvine now, almost a street fight between the two of them. Irvine forcing Frentzen to stay right against the barrier, no room to go through, and I don't know what the swear words in German are, but I bet you Frentzen's got a retinue of them.
And of course it means that David Coulthard has closed up even more again. So at the completion of 15 laps, Damon Hill leads by 18.6 seconds from Jean Lacey, Eddie Irvine, Harold Frentzen and David Coulthard. In third position, still being hounded by Harold Frentzen and David Coulthard. Well, he's dropped back a length or two further now in 5th position, but up front, remember, still Damon Hill with a massive lead of just under 20 seconds from Jean Lacey.